going. She's so funny. As producers go, she has a lot to work. She has a lot to learn.
Hey.
No, don't get me wrong. She's my daughter and all. I love her, but come on now.
It's called double checking, fool.
No, for real. What's up, my know-it-alls? The show is live yet again. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have a lot of fun things to talk about. Before we get on all that, don't forget to like, subscribe, join the channel, all the good stuff. But we're going to talk about all kinds of things because, quite frankly, Netflix is frustrating me and stressing me out just a little bit. Okay, so we are going to talk about several different things we're going to cover. But before all that,
Yes.
clearly we haven't been live for a couple of weeks, and the reason is I got COVID.
And then what did you do?
And then I
Gave it to me.
And then, but the reason, it's funny, so COVID's not even really a thing anymore, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it really, I recovered quick from it. The problem was my voice was gone. So my voice was gone for 2 whole weeks, and it was one of those things, and right, you can clearly...
It keeps going in and out. I mean,
still
yeah.
squeaking. But no, we enjoyed our time down, but we missed you guys, and it's time to get back into it. So we have a bunch of different stories planned, a couple things we're going to talk about, and sort of going through all the stuff.
I am excited. Okay, you want to start with that?
Yeah, if you want.
That like really, you want? Yeah.
Well, we'll go into all that. I know that, but before that, it's my this month is March.
Yes.
March is my birthday month. So I got a gift from.
Okay, he gets a birthday month because it's whatever.
It's real. Because I'm Mr. Know-It-All. No, so a friend of mine sent me a gift. It is a Star Trek pizza cutter. And so I'm interested.
It's USS Enterprise.
It totally is the USS Enterprise. So I'm really interested to sort of see. Let's see real quick what this looks like. This is like legit too, man. Like it's heavy. This is substantial.
Oh wow!
Like you could cut yourself on the saucer section.
Can we not do that then?
No, for real. But it looks so dope. Like the kid in me is like, you know. Anyways.
And your mom would be like, "Don't play with that."
No, for real.
Oh
I can't.
My!
I don't know that I can. It's heavy. Like it's metal.
No, dude, this is way too nice to use. It's too nice of a product.
I am never going to cut pizza with the Enterprise.
Wait a minute. Did you see?
What? Oh, it even says USS Enterprise,
Oh,
NCC 1701. Oh, it's adorable.
Yeah.
I love this so much. No, very, very cool. So
That's
thank you so
cool.
much to my very good friend and one of our wonderful loyal viewers, Christopher. Thank you so much, buddy. I love you for thinking of me. And yeah, man. But let's, without further ado, though.
Really?
No, I'm kidding. It's right. It's here carefully and gently on the desk. I threw the box for effect.
I'm such
But no, let's go ahead and get into the first topic. Netflix has got me so stressed out. So apparently they decided. So there was a show. I don't know how many of you even saw it, called The Brother's Son, and it's a double entendre in a lot of different ways. Mm-hmm. And it's funny. I for the longest time have I very much don't rush to watch stuff on Netflix unless I see a big push or people want to talk about it or whatever, like the Scott Pilgrim thing we watched,
yes.
like the Fall of the House of Usher, things of that nature that I would consider to be high profile. Mm-hmm. However, this show had Michelle Yeoh, Academy Award winning Michelle Yeoh, who is wonderfully talented and should be given all the things everywhere to do, no pun intended. And so I know that Boss Logic, for instance, online, he watched it and he liked it. And I was taking all these cues. A lot of people I know watched it and enjoyed it.
And we were getting ready to watch it.
And I was getting ready to be like, okay, we need to watch this. And no sooner was I like, we're going to go ahead, we're going to watch this thing. I put on the TV and friggin' Netflix canceled it. Mm-hmm. And I don't get it. You get so gun shy with these things. But for me, the big issue is Netflix on a regular basis. One, they don't promote their stuff.
They don't, unless, and if they do, it's very rare.
Right.
Like the Adam Project, for example. They promoted that, and a lot of people watched it. It was great. Right. But when they don't, it's like they pick and choose what to promote.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where if you don't know, you would think, of course. Dude, the day after Michelle Yeoh won the Academy Award, Paramount was like, Section 31 show starring Academy Award winning Michelle Yeoh. Like Paramount got it. They knew what they had.
Knew what to, yeah.
Okay, and I'm sorry, but Netflix should have been like, she won the Academy Award? Yo, we're doing this show with Michelle Yeoh. No pun intended. I'm just
You're
all over the
full
place.
of them today.
I am all over the place. But yeah, but this builds into what I consider to be my own gun shyness about getting into new shows. Mm-hmm. And before the likes of Netflix, networks were doing it.
Right.
Okay. When NBC had Supergirl, I was like, okay, this is a wonderful show. I guarantee you they cancel it. Because NBC is not the place you go to for superhero shows.
Right.
And it was a Berlanti show anyway. Yeah. So I felt from the beginning it belonged on CW.
Like the CW.
So I was super happy when NBC was like, yeah, now we're going to cancel Supergirl. And then CW was like, we got it now. And I was like, right on.
Yeah.
Okay. But like that's how it used to be with network TV. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to wait until season 2 or 3 of a thing. That's really why I never watched, I never watched Supernatural. Because at the time, a lot of things were getting started up and canceled constantly. Now, obviously, Supernatural's been like...
It's in its 85th season.
Right. Or whatever.
Or
I think it was like 12 or 19
already?
even. Yeah, it's 10. But it ended with a good, nice, strong run of shows.
Or how about Grey's Anatomy? That one's on
Still
their 89th season.
Yes. No, for real. Or The Simpsons renewed, which I'm like...
That's 125 seasons. Yeah.
100%. And you stop, but then you get shows like this that I feel like really should have... The trailer looked great to us.
Yeah.
And again, some people I trust online all enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. So it came as, but you can't be surprised because Netflix doesn't support anything. Netflix doesn't back anything up. And as far as I'm concerned, Netflix really truly doesn't care about making sure that their shows are successful. They care about filling a stable of IP.
And we also talked about once when it came to Netflix is they don't merchandise either.
Which, yes.
And that's going to lead into the next your next issue.
Oh, 100%.
And why Netflix is upsetting you.
So then, so now we will roll into the very next part of why Netflix is stressing me out so hardcore, and it's because they've renewed the Last Airbender, Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is wonderful for the next 2 seasons.
Not just one, 2.
2 seasons. So again, here's the difference. Avatar: The Last Airbender obviously had a big following, and clearly the producers and people who own Avatar: The Last Airbender have done a massive job promoting it already. I feel like Netflix assumes that the people who have the shows and stuff are going to do their own level of promotion. Like they don't have to put anything into it, and I feel like that's honestly I feel like that's really silly. So but yeah, I'm excited. We watched this.
Yeah, he made me watch it, and I didn't even know I was supposed to be watching it with him. So he did a really good job sneaking that in there.
I get a phone call from my best friend, and I know he's watching. I get a phone call from my best friend, and he says to me, he goes, have you watched Avatar yet? And I said, not yet. I'm going to get into it. And I did. I watched it like a day later. And he's like, I've watched the first 3 episodes. And he had a couple of criticisms, but they were very minor. And so then as we go, I was like, you know what? Nobody else was in the house. I think you had to take Baby Noah to work or something like that. So there was going to be a good stint of about 4 hours where I was like, you know what? I'm by myself. Let's see what's up. That show did a good job. I knew what it was doing right out the gate. By that I mean it is an adaptation of a series. My best friend argued the show had the cartoon had 16 episodes. I think it was actually more than that, but it's whatever. They were half hour long. So this is 8 episodes at an hour long. You should be able to tell the same story. And it doesn't work that way with show structuring and things like that. You know that. He knows that too because he worked with me in television before. In fact, he was in the same writer's room I was in. So, but what they did manage to do really well was they set up and laid out the story really effectively, and ultimately, what you got was there was one episode in particular where they opened the episode after something major had happened, and the kids are on Appa, the little flying bison thing, and they're avoiding, and he's like, "Man, we've been having to deal with them for a few weeks." And I told him, "No, I said in the cartoon." We saw those few weeks. There were probably 3 episodes worth
in between those
right.
Those weeks.
I would probably have called them filler at the time, but now I know they were kind of developing some things. But either way, Netflix did a really good job. The people who produced and put together did a really good job of making it so that it was this. You knew time was passing, and events were happening. Mm-hmm. They changed a couple minor details, but overall, I really enjoyed the adaptation. What did you think of what you saw, having no exposure to the original?
Exposure to this, I asked, of course, questions and everything, but I thought it was a very good. I'm like, well, what's next? Like, especially towards the end of the season or the episode.
Yeah.
I am actually looking forward to this. So we got two coming up.
And the excuse they gave us so that they could complete the story, and that'll be great.
And maybe that's why the other one was canceled. I mean, you think budgetary reasons Netflix might have had. Yeah. I don't know. There's a million and one reasons, but Netflix really never gives any.
No, they don't give it. They're very, very close-lipped.
Speaking of merchandising, they could be making so much money off
of everything.
Well, even like, for example, we also watched a couple other things. We're like, why aren't they merchandising this?
Oh, there was that one with Charlize Theron where she was an immortal something or other. And I'm like, where's the toys? Where's the comic book spinoff? Where's the graphic novel? Where's anything?
And it just like dies. And I just feel like
there's so much stuff that could
happen
being done.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, there's a reason why Stranger Things was a Netflix original. It wasn't a previous existing IP.
Right.
Whereas Avatar was an a previous existing IP. Take the time and put the marketing behind these things. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So it's just, anyways. So whatever. I don't want to belabor this anymore.
Well, hold on. Let's be fair.
Okay.
Apple.
There you go.
Can do we were kind of we didn't know the program Silos, right? The program Silo.
Yep.
We watched the first couple episodes.
Yeah,
first 3 episodes I think we watched. We're like, okay, now we're hooked. Now we're in. The writer's strike happens, and all of a sudden everything got put on hold, and Apple announced that they didn't think Silos was coming back.
Well, because there was any faux momentum, because I know the season 2 is done already, but they were in whether or not season 2 was going to happen was ambiguous. And I had already heard from friends of mine who got us into watching the show. They were like, "Hey, watch season 2. It's great, but it doesn't resolve any of the questions that season 1 raised." And I'm like, I'm beyond the point of wanting to get into stuff just because, and if it's not going to resolve, if it's not going to be a nice, good story that I can see to completion, I'm not interested. So then
we find out we are getting the 3rd season.
Yay,
so we're going to go back now.
Right. And now we're going to be like, okay, cool. At least we know
now
we're
we can finish
season.
1 and 2, and we can be fine. But
I'll be good.
That was probably because of the strike. But having said that, though, Apple's done it too. I know there's been a couple, and Amazon's done it too.
Well, and again,
Amazon's another one that hasn't been promoting much lately, because I did not realize, and we're the first ones to admit we didn't realize the 2nd season of Carnival Row.
Oh, Carnival Row had
actually come out.
Did you know that? Because we sure as heck didn't.
And I feel like we might be repeating ourselves. We're like, what?
No, and if any of you are like, no, there's no way it did. No, legit, it did. Like Carnival Row came and went. Mm-hmm. Season 2. To this point, until we found out probably about a month ago, I was like, I wonder what Carnival Row season 2 is supposed to come, blah, blah. And Miss Note all sitting there in bed, she goes, it came and went. I was like, what?
Yeah, it was like,
and by the way, we liked that show, but because I'm so butthurt at the fact that it just came and went with no promotion, I'm like, whatever.
Okay, let's go back to that no promotion thing. So Amazon is good at promoting for the most part. Because the minute we heard Good Omens.
Yeah, Good Omens.
Good Omens, the second season, we were like, and it was all over the place. We saw it everywhere. But we didn't see anything about Carnival Row. So.
No, and again, there's certain people are selective about things. And my thing is, if you've already invested the money in something, why not double down? I don't mean in the money, but I mean in at least making sure that an audience finds it. Now, there's this whole mentality that Netflix has, which is, we're a media company and they're not in the movie business. They're not in the entertainment business. They're in the IP portfolio growing business. By all means, do a Google search. Go online. What you're going to find is there's a slew of articles talking about how Netflix at several of their investor meetings have flat out said, our goal is that the day we shut the doors for whatever reason, whatever happens, we will have a multi-billion-dollar portfolio of IP. That's what these investors and these people who are in it, like they're in it for that business. That's the very reason why they're like, that when people ask them, why don't you put more stuff in movies with theaters once in a while, make a little bit of money? They're like, oh, we don't care. Because they don't. They don't care.
They literally, they'll put select ones out now just so they can.
Because they want to be able to have notoriety that says, because now, remember, they're in the IP business. What makes an IP look better? Not success, not money, awards. So they're like, oh, Scorsese make this, or this person made that, or whatever. We need to get it. We'll go to it for 2 weeks or however long we have to for Oscar contention, and get it out and make sure it's only available on our service. Because as the CEO has said recently, they're not in the theater business, and they're not about helping their competition. And I'm like, that is such a closed-minded and myopic outlook on things.
It really
it's so
is.
ridiculous. Anyway, I'm getting off track.
Like,
I'm just
my bad.
But
Because
now
that
the
frustrated
frustration
me
has
too.
abated. Thank you guys for listening to me. Comment below. Let me know what you think. Does Netflix? Is Netflix? Are they wrong for doing? I mean, of course they're wrong. But I mean, what is your thought process behind it? I know because of stuff like this, and because of streaming companies like this, because of how, like we talked about Amazon and whatnot, people just getting rid of things without talking. Bottom line is they're not telling us stuff. I've sort of decided to reinvigorate my physical media collection. Like I'm starting very soon. I'm getting a DVD player. A Blu-ray player. I'm going to start collecting, getting DVDs and just going with it because I'm done waiting for all these people to potentially take it away from me. So
Because that's what, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So let's see what you guys have to think. We'll talk. We'll get more into that. Let's go on to the very next topic. Very next thing I'm going to talk about is Megamind 2.
What?
Yeah, I know.
What about that? Marketing?
Baby Know-It-All got me to fall in love with this movie. Megamind. Not Megamind 2. God, not Megamind 2.
It's
but
true.
Megamind. And to the point that there's times when she's in a bad mood or something's going on or whatever else, that I'll just put it on because I know it makes her smile. Like, we love that movie in this house. Will Ferrell was amazing. Tina Fey was amazing. Everybody does an amazing job in that movie and is wonderful. Now, the first thing I want to make sure that I say is that there is nobody working on this second movie who I have any ill will toward. I really don't. And I don't believe anybody ever sets out to make a bad movie. And I've not even seen this to think it's bad. I want to make sure that's clear. My issue is when I began finding out, I was like, oh, this looks cool. And I went online, I started looking, I'm like, wait a minute. Kevin Ferguson, who's this other, Laura something or other? Who are these people? They don't even have the original voice cast. Apparently there was some 16-minute short that did have the original voice cast called like The Button of Doom or some nonsense. But this is different. This is Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate. It's Megamind's, he's on the job and some of his old cohorts, some villains have escaped and they're out to take on or take out Metrocity. And you know what I'm saying? And so I started watching some clips to find out more. I was like, I watched the trailer. They put like 3 or 4 clips out, and I've seen a lot of this, but I haven't actually sat down to watch the whole thing start to finish. And the one thing almost immediately I noticed was it's disturbing how much they don't sound like the people that they were supposed to be. Mm-hmm. Now the excuse, because I read Variety posted an article,
right,
which is really what precipitated us having this conversation. That was the director and the writers and everyone explained. They've all, every one of them is like washing their hands of the thing. Like, so when we were brought in, the cast, that was already done. Deals had already been made.
Yeah.
We had nothing to do with it, which I think is hilarious because I'm like, dude, you're the director. You're literally the guy who should be pushing or not pushing or whatever else. And so they, apparently deals were made, and then it says there was conflict that couldn't be done. Kevin Ferguson, to his credit, has voiced the character of Megamind in all the previous some advertising that they did. There were a few of the trailer advertising that when they do little animated things as part of it that aren't actually the trailer. He voiced Megamind in those. He voiced him for a video game, and I think there was even a couple of shorts online that he voiced him for. So the argument that the writer made in the Variety article was, well, at this point, Will Ferrell has voiced 85 minutes, while this other guy has voiced 10 hours. And I'm like, yeah, but I haven't seen those 10 hours. I know F all about what he's, all I know is the trailer sounded off-putting. It sounded like someone doing a bad impersonation. And I'm not insulting the voice actor. What I'm saying is the Megamind in my head,
Is
who
it
I've
equal?
watched a million times with my kid, is not the guy. And even she said, she's watching it and she's like, oh yeah, move it, this and that. We watched the trailer. She's like, as I'm watching her face begin to fall. And she's like, and finally she looks over and she goes,
What was that?
What's going on here? And I said, I don't know. And we started searching around. That's when we found out. And she was like, that's dumb. And again, it's because it's like, guys, and they're talking about how they eventually want to do a full. And what this reminds me of, for those of you playing at home, it reminds me of remember back when Aladdin did the sequel without Robin Williams.
Yeah.
And it was, and by the way, I know the guy who did it. He had done the Aladdin. There was an Aladdin cartoon that was on Disney Channel, and he had voiced the guy there. Nobody had a problem with it because kids don't care. But at the same time, when they went to do a movie, it was a little. I remember watching that, going, that's not Robin Williams. See, the issue is they're not trying to impersonate, but for instance. You know the thing in Megamind when he says when he does the words wrong? That was such a natural thing. And by the way, I don't know, and you might be able to find, so comment below, just correct me if I'm totally wrong. I believe firmly that felt like a Will Ferrell in the spur of the moment, off the cuff thing that they're probably like, oh my gosh, that's brilliant, just keep doing that. So now you're trying to script that sort of improv ingenuity, and it falls. And in the trailer, it sounded weird because the guy does one of those. He does one of those things where he says the word wrong, and I'm just like, yeah, it sounds forced, bro. What are you doing? It just was not. It just didn't sit and land right. So, do you have any other thoughts about that?
No, it's just that you almost wonder if I don't know this because I'm not a voice talent. But do you, as a voice talent, do you go for the thing that you hear or the person that's doing it to the thing that you hear? And there's a reason why I asked that.
So there are impersonators, and they get hired to impersonate someone, and they get hired to sound exactly like them. Okay. Now, sometimes that kind of people, those kind of talent are hired. Sometimes if there's one or two minor little things, they've already done ADRs where they replace voices for stuff that didn't get recorded properly or whatever, and maybe the schedule doesn't line up and the actor can't come back, so they'll hire someone to do it. Other times they bring in impersonator guys to do a scratch track, which is until they get the other talent to come in. So at various stages you get whatever. So that's different. This in the Variety article, they flat out said, we weren't going for a sound-alike as much as a feel-alike, which one sounds like the dopiest thing in the world you could say, and it almost feels patronizing. I don't think they meant it that way, and I'm not being morally offended, but you get what I'm saying. So I'm with you. When I've done voice work in the past, and I narrated books, and when I was narrating the books, I would always tell people, hey, I can do impressions, not impersonations. And I said, what I mean by that is you'll get the gist that what you're going for. The classic one that I used to always do was a very Morgan Freeman-like voice. My voice is hoarse right now, but it would always be like, can you do something like Morgan Freeman? And I was like, of course I can do something sort of like a Morgan Freeman type thing. And you just go into, and the idea is, no, clearly I'm not Morgan Freeman, but you get the sense of what you're going for. Mm-hmm. Same thing happened years later. I was hired to do a fantasy novel. They wanted someone who sounded a little bit like Anthony Hopkins, and their specific example was Anthony Hopkins from like the Thor movies playing Odin. That's the effect they wanted. Okay. And I sat on it for a while, and after a while I realized if I put my cheeks together a little bit like this and talked with a bit of an accent, I could somewhat, and you get the impression of it. But it's not an impression. Like, no one would be fooled that I'm Anthony Hopkins. Right. But you get the idea of how but the author was like, you know what? That's great. That's the feel I was going for. Okay. So that's what he means. Bro, this is a major multi-million-dollar cinematic IP that did amazing. This should never have got a green-lighted sequel without at least Will Ferrell. I feel like you can forgive not getting Tina Fey. Sure. You can forgive not getting Brad Pitt. Yeah. But Will Ferrell, even Minion, having that guy. Forgive me, I don't remember the comedian's name right this second. It's literally escaping me.
You can see his face.
I totally can see his face and I hear his voice. But get those two. And I feel like you saved this whole project.
Yeah.
And everyone else, I'm sure, is very talented. All the other voice actors are unique, and they're not. Nobody's a quote unquote celebrity that I know of per se. I don't even know if they're celebrity voice actors. Meaning, I don't know if they're voice actors who are famous for other things, like the voice actor who does Harley Quinn and things like that,
Sure.
or Kevin Conroy, who used to do the late Kevin Conroy who did Batman, or even Mark Hamill who did the Joker. Those are what I would consider celebrity-esque, meaning you know those voices so well because they're famous. Anyways, all right, I've ranted about this thing for a bit. But comment below. Let me know your thoughts on the Megamind sequel. If you've seen it, I'd love to know if I need to give it a shot.
Is it as bad as we think?
Yeah, or do I need to give it a shot? I'm on the fence of giving it a shot, but right now I can't. My brain can't get past the fact that the trailer sounded to me really bad. So, anyways, all right. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic.
Moving on.
No, for real. I posted this online. So Jeff Schneider, the Schneider, if you will, subscribe to his newsletter. It's amazing. It's wonderfully insightful. It has a lot of good news and stuff in there. The guy's an old school journalist like you read about back in the day, and he left the place. He started his own thing. He broke the news that Lionsgate TV is working on a Twilight animated series. Now, first and foremost, this ain't it. The graphic that I put online on my socials, including Know It All Nation, and I think my daughter also shared it, is absolutely not authentic. What I did was, because I had it in my head, and I play with different tools and different stuff all the time. I took a shot of the characters from the movie, and I threw it into an AI generator, and I said, give me what this would look like as an animation, and this is what it gave me. And so it's I think it's supposed to be Sparkles in the middle. That's supposed to be Wolf Boy.
Sparkles.
Yeah, that's supposed to be Wolf Boy. Hence why he has golden eyes. And that's Stuart. What's her name? Yes, yeah, Bella. And so, so again, not genuine. But it gives you an idea of what potentially could be, especially in a day and age where we're getting the likes of Castlevania, the folks at Powerhouse who did Castlevania, and they also did He-Man Revolution. They did the Zeus's Blood or Blood of Zeus. Mm-hmm. Those guys are really carrying the torch for this American-style anime-esque animation, and I would love to see something like this for that. What is the idea? Anything about the idea of a Twilight animation do anything for you?
No, because
really?
I didn't care for the books, nor did I. I'm going to get yelled at.
No, you're good.
I didn't care for the books, nor did I care for the movies.
So
I don't care. That's horrible, isn't it? I know.
I'm about to out myself hardcore. I didn't care either. Back in the day, I saw the movies because friends were seeing them, this and that, blah, blah, blah. A girl I was dating at the time wanted to watch them, so we watched them. But then my daughter, baby know-it-all, very tongue-in-cheek is like, haha, yeah, Twilight, we should watch it ironically. We watched the whole series and kind of enjoyed it.
They did.
Yeah, together. Like it became
I watched it with them, but...
And it's so funny because I don't know when it happened. I think it was after maybe the second or third movie. We stopped ironically being like, this is so funny. Isn't it funny we're watching this? And began being like, you watching the next one? You want to watch the next one? We want to watch the next one. And it became a thing we watched. So when this was announced, I was like, oh, this will be interesting. And she's very much interested in seeing what they do with it. So upside, I think you can tell a longer story in animation. I think doing them half hour long, adventure animation style like we're getting a lot of other stuff is not a bad way to go. I think you probably get a good 2-3 seasons out of it. And we'll see what they end up doing with it. So I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see what that iteration looks like. And also I would love it if they found a way. Obviously, I don't think you get Dude back I don't think you get any of the voice people back, but I bet you could get Wolf Boy back, because I don't know that Taylor Lautner's doing anything. I think Taylor Lautner, you get him back as a voice, and then you have a little hat to hang that we got our voice actor, blah blah, whatever.
Yep.
I think you could definitely get some of the voice cast back, which I think would be fun. Yeah. If nothing else, just to be able to say, hey, some of the original people from the movie, blah blah blah. So what are your thoughts about the Twilight animation? And also, please be nice, because I flat out know it's AI generated. I'm not trying to pass it off as anything else.
Well, and a million prompts after.
Oh, totally. Yeah, no.
We're not just talking boom, boom, boom. It's like...
No. You got to play with it and tweak and get it. But at the same time, it was fun just to kind of go, I wonder, would this be kind of what it might look like when they do finally show us some first images, Lionsgate TV, I'm talking to you. I am absolutely going to put side by side and be like, just how close did we get this? How similar or not? Unless they go full anime with like the big eyes and the whole 9 yards, I'm very interested to see what they ultimately, how this does eventually turn out. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about the very next, let's look at the next thing we got going on here. What is this? What is this? Okay, this is not my Madam Web review. My sister know-it-all, my sister-in-law know-it-all, has shamed me into doing a review for Madam Web, and I will be doing one. Primarily because my nieces are fans of the Spider-Man universe. Spider-Man, Spider-Verse, and all that. So I will be doing one. It's probably going to drop later this week. So even though I'm late to the party, I'm not doing it for anybody else but my nieces and my sister-in-law. And so you guys will see that, and it's going to be 100% kid-friendly. Oh, yes. Anyways, in the news, Dakota Johnson was interviewed about what's the quote unquote, let's be real, it's abysmal, it's a failure. The movie has literally bombed. In the US, it's done, I think it's barely broken $40 million US. Worldwide, they're barely at $100 million. The movie had like $110 million budget or something like that. The movie has not made any kind of headway, money, whatever. And I told Mrs. Know-it-all, we were watching Charts with Dan because anyone who's smart and loves numbers will watch that. And he talks about how it's like, here it is, so many and so many theaters it's still in. And I told her, I said, that's the studio.
Yeah, that's the studio.
The studios are like, please, for the love, just keep it. Just let's.
1 more week.
If we just can eke
going.
out anything, because it's
I
really
need to
slowed
break even.
Yeah, it is slowed to a screeching halt, that thing. But anyways, yeah. So she gets to talking, and she says in the interview, this didn't surprise her. And when the interviewer asked why, she said, right now, movies in Hollywood are being made by committee. By the way, none of this is going to be news to us. Us in the comic book movie loving audience, nerd, geek culture, in those spaces, we are not surprised by any of this. Because the truth is, we've sort of been assuming who wrote this? Who did this?
Who did this?
Because you want to sit here and go, well, clearly this is not an intelligent person didn't think this through. Someone who's looking at numbers and thinks they can math their way into a movie did this. And Dakota Johnson said, I don't know if I'm gonna ever do another superhero movie. She's like, I'm not good in that world. And meaning like, because she was very shocked at not being able to see people and this and that, the whole bit, and all this stuff that you have to do in movies these days. Perhaps not all movies, but in those kind of movies, in those comic book level movies. And I think the fact that also oh my God, did you see Sweeney on Saturday Night Live? She hosts Saturday Night Live, and her opening salvo was, "Hey, you may know me from this. I know none of you saw me in Madam Web," and I was just like, "Oh, honey, Sydney Sweeney, go girl." That's a girl who knew the assignment, and she's brilliant for doing that. So, but it's the fact that the Hollywood, and it surprises nobody, is a lot of the people are doing these things by committee. Right now, Robert Meyer Burnett is online on Twitter just shouting at WB and how they've got infantile children who've never actually made movies, and he's right. Hollywood is currently being run by a stream of executives who either come from people who were the assistants of, but have never actually done any of this themselves. It's an era that is breeding this sort of, and I take umbrage at this like busybody know-it-all. I know how to make movies, and I'm like, no, brother, I know how to make movies. And so it's one of those things you stop and go, what is going on out there? And then she just pulls the curtain back and says, oh yeah, no, they're doing it this way, and we're like, well, that makes sense. Makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
It really does.
It really does. It'll be yeah.
Well, and as people who were in the entertainment industry, like we negotiated, we almost had a series on Netflix. Had $3 million in financial funding put into it, had advertising dollars lined up, the whole 9 yards. We know what it takes to get something made, and hopefully we wanted to do it very indie because we didn't want people telling us how to do certain things. Yeah. Because everybody thinks they know stuff, and that the truth is You don't.
I remember
Right
that, yeah.
now, look, this has nothing to do with woke culture, and I'm not taking sides in the culture war on that regard or whatever gatekeeping body is out there. But what I will say is this. When you have major studios who are buying these, who are getting these IPs, and then try to change them, you got the IP because you wanted the built-in audience. So now making something that is no longer talking to that audience because you want to grow it, expand it, change it. Why?
Yeah.
You got the IP for the built-in audience. Why alienate all of them?
Yep.
And that's happening across the board in a lot of different places. Marvel was on a trajectory that knew exactly what it was, what it wanted, and then they changed that. By the way, I have no judgment in one way or another. I think whatever you want to think about what, but at the end of the day, the movies were no longer being made well. Bob Iger says it was because they were rushing and it was quantity, not quality.
It's all of it.
Agreed. I absolutely agree. I don't think it has anything to do
There's
with
not just one. There's just not one massive problem. It was literally all of it. It's like almost like here's another one. Here's another one. Here's another one.
Right.
Here's another one. It's like.
Well, and you want to sit here and go, who thought these were good choices? She-Hulk started strong, was abysmal.
I was so excited about that.
The Marvels is apparently it's Captain Marvel 2, and I didn't know that because I thought it was just another movie, but it's supposed to stand in for Captain Marvel 2, and I'm sitting here going, why did they talk about a dozen other movies in the movie? Like they referenced movies we never got to see, and better Captain Marvel movies that I would have loved to have seen. And likewise with the likes of, dude, you have Secret Invasion. Secret Invasion should have been a winner all day.
Yep.
Should have been amazing. Yep. Tanked. Horrible. And if you sit here and say, what are they doing? You know, so when she comes out and talks about what's happening and how Hollywood's doing it, I don't think anyone's surprised. I know I'm not. So
no, I just think it's interesting that it's finally like she has made a point to say, this is what's going on. This is why they're all not doing well.
No, I agree. So, all right. Well, there you go. Now you know. If you have the battle, you have it, but you know it all yourself. What is the final story, final thing we're going to talk about now that we've done with all of these? We're going to talk a little bit about what's coming up Sunday.
It is the Oscars,
baby.
Oscars. 8 p.m. Eastern time for all those that are.
No, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I'm looking forward to it. We are not gonna try to do a live thing.
We thought about it.
We did think about it long and hard, but strategically speaking, the show is upstairs, and we were down here, and we were running back and forth, and all this other stuff, and just keeping it all going. I would much prefer down the road. I may drag in a TV screen. You're like, you have TV screens? Shut up. These are for display.
I ain't going to sit down here and watch the Oscars like this. I ain't doing it. I love y'all, but I ain't doing it. I want my recliner.
No, for sure. But we're going to talk about it. We'll probably do a recap show afterwards. Maybe the next day on Monday or something. We'll probably do it Monday, and we'll do a live recap show.
We might even pop in and out during. If there is some crazy stuff going on, we might have to pop in and out during.
No, for sure. But are there anything in particular you're?
I'm really excited though because I mean, there's so much. You said there was a bunch of people that won these certain awards that like the BAFTA awards and stuff like that. So you pretty much believe that these.
So I did. So you have to see so the SAG awards came out and all these other awards have come out and they really set the tone in a way. I thought. Going into this, because you can watch our Oscar recap or Oscar prediction show, and I thought for sure the Holdovers was going to have a much stronger presence, and it really didn't. By that I mean the Oppenheimer has cleaned up in a lot of places. So unfortunately, I don't know that I think anymore that I'm going to stick to my prediction. I'm not changing it. I believe Paul Giamatti is the dark horse who's going to upset Cillian Murphy out of the blue. But at the same time, Cillian Murphy and them are doing them. They did amazing, man. They did amazing. I know we're gonna get to see Ryan Gosling is gonna do I'm Just Ken.
I didn't know.
Yeah, he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it live at the thing. It's gonna be fun. That alone, I think, is gonna make it worth watching. So like that type of thing.
We've already warned Baby Know It All that if Boyfriend Know It All is coming over one Sunday like he does every time, it is an Academy. It's the Oscars. There's no. It's meal is early. And
oh yeah, we're ready.
Meals early, and the program for the evening is the Oscars.
It's gonna be good. I'm excited for it. So, are you excited for the Oscars? I know that I'm more excited for all of the other pieces of it because this year I really got to get into it. We're gonna have some No Nation art. We're gonna have some graphics throughout the thing. So as soon as somebody's mentioned, you can go to our socials at A Real Know It All, at Know It All Nation. I'm sorry, at Know It Alls Unite is what the ad is, because apparently Know It All Nation is taken by nobody. And I will be posting those, and I'll be forcing them to share them as well. So there will be, like, we'll have immediately. I literally have a graphic for every single person who's nominated listed as winner. So I'm ready. So the minute someone wins, I'm like, boom, it's gone. I want to make sure. No, because I'm so excited for this year and getting to really kind of play in that space. Yeah. I'm digging it. It reminds me of pre-pandemic when we saw those Emmys that year. So we had just gotten into television work, and we were literally, like I said, in the middle of all these different negotiations and stuff. So we're like, let's watch the Emmys because there's every possibility we could be here one day. Yeah. And so we really were excited. Same thing. I'm really excited for the Oscars, and mainly as a film reviewer and a film. I've been watching a lot more movies than normal, and we've been to the theater more times than
I can remember.
Yeah, like literally. As a result, we're like, let me see that AMC Stars thing. Yeah. You know, like, let me get that one membership that lets you
premiere,
just go see. Yeah.
Or A-list. The A-list one.
Because I'm like, you know what? And by the way, that's not sponsored. Like, I just want anything that's going to allow us to be able to see movies fairly regularly. And that looks like that's going to be the win. So anyway, would love to hear more about what you guys think about the Oscars. Also, comment about any of the stories you've heard today. I would love to talk more about these things with you guys. Follow us, please, on all the socials. I am, of course, right there at A Real Know-It-All. She's right over there at a Mrs. Know-It-All. Baby Know-It-All is also on there now. OG Baby Know-It-All.
OG Baby Know-It-All.
Yeah.
So, I forgot that.
Yeah, for real.
I live in the same house.
But it's a lot of fun. We're also, at any given time, we also have our social media manager who's working the Know It All Nation account. So, I'm sorry, Know It Alls Unite. And so, again, we're doing our best to really kind of grow this thing. And really, it's because of you guys. Thank you for being there during my downtime. Yes. I'm looking forward to doing more television. Just dropped this week, the Know It All Files again. There's a full version, then I broke up each of the questions.
That was fun.
I love to see, when I'm not doing this kind of stuff, that's what this channel is about. It's about me helping you guys become know-it-alls too. So whatever the questions you may have you have thoughts, things you want to just discuss, I'm your geeky best friend, man. I'm ready to nerd out. Let's do it. Let's talk. Absolutely love having you guys join us in this every single week. I appreciate you. Whatever platform you follow us on, whether it's here on YouTube, here on Twitter, because I'm live streaming. We're live streaming this on Twitter as well. I'm sorry, X. Sorry, didn't mean to offend anybody. And of course we're on. We're in Threads. We're on the Gram, if you will. And I don't know. That's whatever the kids call it. I don't know. I feel like my daughter's upstairs going, nobody calls it that.
She's cringing.
No, for real. She totally is cringing inside. But yeah, man, thanks so much, you guys. I absolutely love each and every one of you, and I cannot wait until next time.